Because you used your left hand, you could be driven from your family's table, denied a trade, seen as a burden on the battlefield, and one day even accused of witchcraft. You didn't have to say a single word or do a single thing wrong. That hand alone was enough. Today, being left handed costs you almost nothing. A smudged pen, scissors that feel backwards, a desk built for someone else. By evening, you've forgotten it. But for thousands of years, that same hand could shape an entire life from beginning to end, whether you wanted it to or not. Now I'm going to take you into that world. From your very first day to your last breath, we'll walk through, step by step, everything that one hand brought upon you. And trust me, by the time this is over, you'll never look at your own hand the same way again. The moment you opened your eyes in that world, the first thing to greet you was the way people looked at you. Your parents noticed something. The hand reaching for the spoon was always the same one, but the wrong one. A shadow crossed their faces. Because in the land where you grew up, even the language people spoke used the word for left to also mean clumsy, crooked, unlucky. So before you even knew yourself, the word that described you was already waiting, and it wasn't a kind one. Think about it. You begin your life with a verdict already passed on you, not for anything you did, but simply for who you are. Today, if someone calls you left-handed, you shrug and move on. Maybe you even laugh. But back then, it was like a stain that clung to you and would not wash off, and that stain would grow up right alongside you. The first place you'd face this shadow was somewhere far more ordinary than you'd expect. The dinner table. Because in that age, the table tested you several times a day. Back then, people didn't each have their own plate. Most of the time, a large bowl was set in the middle, and everyone reached in with their hand. And here was the problem. In many societies, the left hand was the one set aside for unclean work, while eating was done with the right. So when you, a small child, naturally dipped your left hand into that shared bowl, everyone at the table would flinch. This wasn't seen as a child's mistake. It was rudeness, even a cause for disgust. Now picture it. At every meal, in front of everyone, you're fighting a small war. On one side, the motion that has felt most natural since the day you were born. On the other, forcing yourself so you won't shame anyone. Maybe your mother whispered to you before you sat down, "Eat with your right, don't forget." But the moment your mind wandered, the hand did what it knew. One slip, one reach to the wrong side, and the elder's eyes would change instantly. And in that age, the table wasn't just where you filled your stomach. It was where guests were honored, friendships were formed, deals were struck. To be shut out of it was to be shut out of a large part of life. Could you have carried that pressure at such a young age, at every single meal? At the table, maybe you could hide your hand a little, but when it came to learning, to writing, there was nowhere left to hide, because there, your hand had to work out in the open, on the page. Most writing flowed from left to right. For someone using their right hand, this was easy. The hand always moved ahead of what was written. But when you tried to write with your left, your hand dragged across what you'd just written, smearing it, blurring everything. And for generations, there was only one answer to this: forcing the child onto the other hand. Your left hand would be tied behind you, struck, and it went on like this until you learned to use the proper one. The goal was never to teach you something. It was to change your very nature. It's not hard to imagine, but it was very hard to endure. Your most comfortable, most natural self punished over and over. Not for doing anything wrong, just for being you. You'd struggle for days, for months, so your hand wouldn't betray you. You'd try to use that right hand until your fingers cramped. Sometimes you'd manage it, and sometimes, when you tired and slipped back to your old hand, a scolding or a slap was waiting. Today, a left-handed child writes freely with their own hand at school, and no one even turns to look. Back then, that hand was seen as a flaw that had to be corrected. Would you have bowed to that pressure and bent your own nature? Or would you have resisted and paid the price every single time? Let's say you grew up and somehow endured all that pressure. So what happened when the time came to earn your own bread? Here too, the world seemed to have turned its back on you. In that age, most people made their living with their hands, with a sickle, a loom, a potter's wheel. But all these tools had one thing in common. They were all made for the right hand. When an apprentice joined a master, every motion was shown with the right hand. As a left-hander, you'd either have to use these tools clumsily, or it would take you far longer to learn the craft. In a field where everyone swung the same way, you're swinging the opposite direction put both you and the person beside you in danger. Your master might look at you and say, "This one will never make a craftsman," and turn you away from the very start. Yet none of this had anything to do with your talent. The problem wasn't in you. It was in a world built for a single hand. But no one in that world saw it that way. You were simply known as slow and clumsy. And if you had no trade, you had no door to a livelihood. Today, if you want, you can find left-handed scissors, left-handed guitars. The world has slowly learned to make room for both hands. Back then, there was no such chance. Either you'd try to be like everyone else, or you'd be left behind. Behind all these daily struggles, there was a far greater and invisible force, faith. And in that age, faith didn't sit at the edge of your life. It sat right at its center. People tied the right side to goodness, to the sacred, to righteousness. Even today, we call a ruler's most trusted man his right-hand man. That's how old the habit is. The left side, meanwhile, was often counted as the side of darkness, of misfortune, of the cast out. When touching something holy, when handing something to an elder, when praying, the proper hand, the right, was always expected. So when you reflexively held out your left, people saw it not as mere carelessness, but almost as an insult to the sacred. Think about it. Even in your most sincere, most innocent moment, even while praying, your hand gives you away. Your good intentions count for nothing, because what matters isn't what you feel, it's which hand you raise. And once you were known as the one who always uses the left, in people's eyes, you became someone a little closer to darkness. Today, no one cares how you pray or which hand you use. Back then, it was taken as a silent sign of which side your very soul stood on. Then one day, they called for you. Because in that age, being a man meant, sooner or later, becoming a soldier. And the battlefield, for a left-hander, wasn't just a personal test. It was a matter that affected everyone beside you. The wars of those times were often fought in tight formation. Soldiers lined up shoulder to shoulder, shield in one hand, weapon in the other. Each man's shield protected both himself and the man beside him. And this only worked if everyone used the same hand for the same task. When you took your weapon in the wrong hand, you broke that harmony and opened a gap in the line. In your commander's eyes, you weren't a solution, you were a problem. The interesting part is that in one-on-one combat, being left-handed was sometimes an advantage. Your opponent had spent his whole life fighting men who weren't like you and wasn't used to the angle you came from. Your blade arrived from a direction he didn't expect. But this small edge was useless in a crowded formation. There, what mattered wasn't how skilled you were, but how well you fit the line. The same dilemma again. Try to be like everyone else and you betray your nature. Stay true to your nature and you break the order. Standing in that line, which would you have chosen? Everything I've told you so far, the mark in the language, the shame at the table, the look in the temple, the mismatch of the tools, over time fed a far more dangerous belief. People slowly came to believe the left hand wasn't just unlucky. It was, perhaps, tied directly to evil. The herald of every misfortune was spoken of with the left. Dark deeds and curses were believed to be worked with the left hand. And in the times when fear gripped whole societies, when people went hunting for witches, even the smallest difference could be read as a sign. If a cow in a village went dry, if a child fell ill, if a field withered, people would search for someone to blame. And in that search, eyes often turned to whoever was different. Being left-handed alone might not have condemned you, but when left-handedness was added on top of someone already whispered about, someone who'd made an enemy, someone who'd suffered a misfortune, that's when that hand could turn into evidence. And the most terrifying part was this. You couldn't defend yourself. If you accuse someone of something they did, they can say, I didn't do it. But if they accuse you of what you are, of a hand you've carried since birth, what can you say? There's no act to deny. There's only you, your hand, and that hand is already there for all to see. Could you have lived under those eyes, every single moment fearing, what if one day this hand gives me away? And where all of this gathered was here. People would never fully trust you, because in the logic of that age, right meant honest, upright, true. Left meant crooked, strayed, untrustworthy. This wasn't just a feeling, it touched every corner of your life. When you went to ask for a woman's hand in marriage, your left-handedness might plant a question in her family's mind. Is there some misfortune in this one? In a partnership, in a trade, the other side would keep a step's distance from you. So much so that in some places, even unequal, lesser unions were spoken of with the left. The word for left had become the very symbol of being second class. No matter how honest, how hard-working you were, you could never fully wipe away that shadow over you. Even while speaking with you, people carried, perhaps without even realizing it, a quiet hesitation. You'd have to prove yourself your whole life, and still that first suspicion never fully vanished. Today, an employer, a friend, a lover doesn't care which hand you use. Most of the time, they don't even notice. Back then, that hand was a silent verdict on your character, and that verdict was almost impossible to change. Now let's go back to the beginning. Remember what we talked about at the start? That today, being left handed costs you no more than a smudged pen, a pair of backward scissors? That's exactly where the whole thing lies. Today, that hand takes a small comfort from you. Back then, it took your peace, your reputation, sometimes your safety. What you laugh off today, saying, us lefties are just built different, was, in that age, a silent conviction passed on you. But here's the beautiful part. Despite all that pressure, all that forced correcting, all that stigma, the left hand never disappeared. In every generation it was bent, and in every generation it rose again. Because it was never a choice, it was a part of human nature. When you look at history today, among the greatest painters, commanders, and inventors, you'll find those who used that once cursed hand. So that hand was misunderstood for ages, but not once did it surrender. So, what do you say? Could you have endured that world? At every meal, every prayer, every battle, would you have tried to be like everyone else? Or would you have stayed true to your nature and taken on the whole price? Think about it and write your answer below. And don't forget, that trait you find ordinary today, even a little cool, it's actually the quiet hero of a whole story that people tried for ages to silence. Not a bad inheritance, is it?